Hi there. My name is Simone Morris, inclusive leadership expert and CEO of Simone Morris Enterprises, LLC. I remember the exact time when I thought, a training course is needed. Something has to be done, something has to change. It was in 2020, and it was when George Floyd was murdered. I was debilitated from that experience. And I just felt hopeless. To be frank, I did. And it took me a while to process my feelings of despair and really to bounce back. What I always call, what I say to my clients about this inclusion journey is that it's bumble, stumble, and rise. And so my clients and students know I'm always using, and when I do speaking engagements as well, they know I'm often using this term. But back to the story at hand. And so I really was in the bumble and stumble phase for quite a bit of time before I finally was able to rise with a thought as far as what I could do. So, in my own grief of processing what was happening in our country to Black and Brown people and to the masses, because really this is a global impact of outrage, of wanting to do more. And I started to put together these panels where I brought together experts to talk about racial outcry, what was happening in the workplace, what can we do about it? And through that experience, there was just a clamoring for people to want to know more. I ran about 4 of these different webinars with different experts having the conversation, because conversation dialogue is necessary. It's part of the healing process on this journey. And, we're all trying to figure out, what can I do? How can I contribute to change? And so for me, that is how the Inclusion Immersion course came into being. It was formerly called the Inclusive Leadership Bootcamp, but has since changed to the Inclusive Leadership Immersion training course. And it really is an immersion experience where you get to show up authentically. And I think that's an important distinction. You get to show up in a safe space to be yourself, to bumble, stumble, and collectively we rise together. We rise together to figure out, how do we make a change in the world, in the workplace, personally, professionally? How do we create change? Because there's constantly a tug of war about people trying to fit in, and a response of, no, I don't want you to fit in. And so to the far end, that response could be violent. And so we're processing so many different things these days, whether it is, gun violence, and dealing with the ramifications of equity, disparities around health, around, what's happening in the workplace. How do we navigate cultural differences? There are so many things going on, and people just grappling with, I don't know what to do. And perhaps part of that for you is remaining silent, or perhaps you're still just sort of going around in your mind of, I'm not really clear on what I could do. And so again, this is where the immersion training comes in. In a safe space, you will be paired with an accountability partner. So not only will I be showing up as your live instructor, or you will have a live instructor for the session, you will also be paired up with an accountability partner, and it's helpful to process together outside of the training incubator. This is a journey, and there's a transformation process that happens. We have the experiences, and part of this will fight to hold on to the learned way of doing things. And so to be this inclusive leader, you're going to have to do some unlearning of deeply seated beliefs, experiences, lived experiences. You're going to have to go back and really transform so that you can show up and lead and be that change maker. And that's what I'm wanting for you in this immersion program. I'm wanting for us to come together collectively, people who really want to see true change and are quite frankly fed up of sitting on the sidelines waiting for other leaders to take action. You're ready to take action, and you're ready to help your workplace. You're ready to help the people around you shift, because shift is necessary in the times that we're living in. I will be leading the training program, and we will be talking about different topics, topics like how do you diversify the workplace, and not just diversify the workplace by bringing in diverse talent, but how do you make space in your teams? How do you create inclusive teams? How do you speak inclusively? How do you recover when you bumble and stumble and put your foot in your mouth and you've offended someone, and you spend your wheels turning trying to recoup from the embarrassment of not being inclusive? There is some shame around that. So we talk about different things. We'll talk about technology that you can use to help you on this inclusion journey. The great bonus of this program is that you leave the program with a 90-day action plan that you create, that you share, that you get input on, not only from me as the leader of the program, but also from the participants in the program. And so, we're here to set you up for success. We have a special community that you can remain with and really learn and transform and grow with. So I invite you to take advantage of our the inclusive leadership immersion program. It is an imperative at this point that everybody roll up their sleeves, and together we create change in the world. We create change in the workplace. We create change in the spaces that we show up and lead in. We are, in fact, change makers who are ready for a more inclusive world. I invite you to join our program. We have offerings to meet you where you are on the journey, and those offerings, we provide a summer training program that's a condensed version of the course in a shorter time, and we also provide, if you want to wait until the fall, go back to school and jump into the program, the longer session, the series of 6, you can also do that. You can also do a custom version where this is brought in, and you can go through this experience with leaders, other identified participants in your organization. We do have the offering for a customization of the course. So what we want you to do is to sign up, to be ready. We've got to stay ready, because the world is changing. The workplace is changing. The diversification of the world is changing. And so as inclusive leaders, we've got to do the work. We've got to do the work. If our organization isn't ready, we've got to lead the way and really push for change. And again, I am all about being that inclusive leader, that transformational inclusive leader, because quite frankly, what we're needing is more authenticity, more accountability. And that's another thing that we'll be talking about in the program. How do we deal with accountability when there's lack of? How do we create accountability? And so much more in this program. Who's doing it well? What companies are doing it well? How do you help your company? How do you help yourself to be a more inclusive leader? I want to see you in our programs. I personally invite you to join us in one of our programs for this transformational leadership experience. Thank you so much for listening. And please do reach out if you have questions on the program. Personally email me at smorris@simonemorrisenterprises.org, or set up a call with me at callwithsimone.com. I welcome the opportunity for a conversation. Hope to see you in the program.